printing off some stuff. I had someone reach out and wish me to have a nice day. I appreciate that. Especially when someone is busy and they do that, and you know that they're reaching out to you on one of their busiest days. That means a lot to me. Yep. I'm here. I have this NVIDIA stock, and I really want to wait before I sell any. I wanted to get up to at least $10,000. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get on the road. Yeah, just deep in thought, everyone. Christmas music station. You know, true to my routine, when I get out of here, I don't have a desire to go any place and get groceries. I need to check and see how many steps I took. I'm thinking it might be around between 8,000 or 9,000 or something. It's down. Ooh, I did buy some things. Everything came to around $32, okay? Some of the stuff might be Christmas stuff, but this definitely isn't. Got some scrubbers. Got some lint rollers. Foot buffer. I reached out to someone, and I'm pretty busy, they're busy, so we were just kind of seeing like what our schedules are like. So nothing set, just what our schedules are like. There are some similarities and some differences. I'm going to pick up some prescriptions for my skin. I did ask the provider if I could use colloidal oatmeal, and the provider says I could use it as long as it's not irritating. So I've been putting a scoop of that. I did almost like a paste, okay, and did it from the neck down, and then I rinsed it off in the shower, so it's kind of like a little bit of something left on my skin. All right, I'm back. What I found in my life, and I'm not sure if it was upbringing in the church, or it's my personality of just giving, and not always getting the things that I want in return. A little perfectionism, a little bit of reading things in that shouldn't be read. So I think just my experiences, I want to make sure that what I'm seeing and what I'm interpreting is accurate. So I'll give you an example. If you're wanting to know if someone else is really putting forth the effort to get to know you and take your wants into consideration and your needs into consideration. Now, this could be a potential partner, a potential, spouse. This could be like the relationships with your family, friendship. This isn't just like strictly like anything romance, although it could be that. So anyway, how you could do with AI is you get your journal and you say, like, these are the things that I've been observing. I've been reaching out this number of times. The person responds back in this amount of time. The person hasn't initiated reaching out, but they always respond back. And then you could say, like, well, the person recently started reaching out on these days of the week, if you know if that's a busy day, you could say that. If you know that it's not a busy day for them, you could put all of that stuff in there and give examples of what kind of communication it is. And then the AI, like I had a bunch of stuff I typed in there, not with any personal information. And then it gave me back like kind of like a profile of this person, like what type of person they are. And I have to say that it's pretty spot on. Or an example would be like if somebody keeps asking you to do things, even though you've said that you don't want to do something. I'll give you an example. I don't want to teach in youth group at church anymore. I don't want to be in charge of the school drive. I don't want, where you're in charge of the giveaway. I don't want to be in charge of that. I don't want to teach in children's church anymore. I don't want to ever become ordained or go into ministry, or I don't want to be married to a pastor or anyone that's really super involved in the church, especially pastors, apostles, anything where they're ordained and they're a minister. I don't ever want to be with. So if someone would come my way and say that they have those qualities and be approaching me as a potential love interest, and if they kept, dismissing that, that's an example of it. That hasn't happened because pretty much everybody at my church knows to leave me alone. And if there's any man in there that's remotely attracted to me, I put up boundaries clear that say that I'm not interested in anybody in that church, and I don't have anything saying you don't take a poopy where you get your spiritual food. So, but let's just stick on the children's church thing, okay, or the youth group thing. And they keep asking me this question over and over and over. Then the AI, they kind of said like, this person has boundary issues. They're not listening to you. They're not hearing you. So would you like some exercises or some scripts to use? And then I'll say yes. And then this, and this, okay? Give these approaches. I recently used this with a relative, and I talked about the choices I made in who I selected as a spouse, and it wasn't necessarily based on logic. It wasn't so much looking at what the qualities this person had. It was looking at the qualities that they didn't have. And it was very important to me that I never, ever, ever marry a man in ministry or had any kind of inklings that they had a calling to minister. So much so where if I were to marry, I would even consider putting that into a prenuptial agreement that if you ever decide you want to become a minister, that we're going to get a divorce. That's how actually serious I am about it. I was telling one of my kids about that, and they were like, oh, it might have been my daughter-in-law. I'm like, I'm adamantly serious about that. And I was sharing with one of my family members that the reason I married the person is because I knew that they would never ever consider being a minister just by the way they act. And that wasn't the best way to get a spouse because we had a lot of fundamental differences. We were from different socioeconomic levels. We were from different educational levels. Everything about us was completely different. The only thing we had in common is we had two beautiful children, and we now have a grandchild. May my late spouse rest in peace, okay? And I own my part in making the decision, by the way. So it's not any like blame. I'm just giving a fact. So anyway, I kind of worked through those things, with counseling and therapy and about those decisions and why I did that. Yeah. Wow, that person's burning leaves and stuff. Anyway, the AI came back and what it said was my discernment was accurate. It was spot on. And then what my observations were kind of an indication of, kind of giving a profile of this person I've been interacting with based on the behaviors. And you could do this with a husband or wife. You could do that with parents to see if the relationship is toxic. You can do that with your children. If you have any, you could do that with cousins. You could do that with acquaintances, people. If you want to see if they're really a true friend, just do all the symptoms. And you have to really be willing to look at the feedback that is giving. And of course I delete it and stuff, and there's some things I'll write in my journal and stuff, and just to kind of relook at things and make sure that I'm with the relationship choices, whether it's friendship, platonic, whether it's family, whether it's within the church, that these relationships are truly in my best interest. It's not one-sided, that is reciprocating. Because at our church, we have a sign, and the first thing you walk in and it says others. But what I'm finding is I need to think about myself. Not everybody's problem is my problem. Just because somebody's looking for a job and I find somebody that has job openings, I've helped several young people to find jobs, okay? With this entrepreneur. So there's been at least one, two, three that are direct, and one that was indirect through a referral. And so I had my mom, she knew somebody was looking for a job, and she suggested this person. And I said, first of all, I would never suggest that person because I don't think they're reliable. They're not reliable, and I'm not going to have my good name tarnished because my mom is wanting to help someone, okay? So, and the it can really seem cold-blooded. And this is somebody, my mom is like, wow. I'm like, yeah, I mean, no. I'm not going to suggest someone to work at a place when I know that they've had a hard time keeping staff and that this person is not reliable, not reliable, just because they need help. Right? They got a whole Hot Wheel vending machine over here. I want my grandson to see that.
Attention fragrance fans, up to an $18.95 value. You can even earn extra points when you download our fresh new app. So don't miss your train. Get on board and join today. Some exclusions apply. See associate for details.
One thing a black woman know how to do. Let's make it.
Ow! We're black. Ooh, no, 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 no. Woo, girl. You good? All right. So you've got to get in the bag, okay? You look so cute, girl. Wow!